I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wilder! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man.
Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube. Obviously, podcast forms, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. I am Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, call in live, 323-870-4051. International callers on the Skype machine, add Mixed Combat Radio. And obviously, if you're listening on iTunes, drop that 5-star review. But it is a big show today, Foo. It's going to be a long show. We have so much to get to in the boxing world. Deontay Wilder, DAZN news. And on top of that, because we didn't have a show yesterday, shout out to my birthday. I have a
birthday, Matt.
I have a specific soundbite for this moment, this one moment. Okay, just let me have this.
Go shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip and party like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck, it's your birthday.
Yep. I apologize for all of our UK listeners that are maybe watching this in the morning, and it doesn't have Rob on it. Rob is busy today. Obviously, yesterday it was my birthday. So we've just been busy this week. That's why this entire week's schedule has been off, including Patreon schedule. We do apologize. Hopefully, next week or coming up on Sunday, whatever it is, we get back right on schedule. But digressing from all of that, like I said, Wilder DAZN news, Triple G DAZN news, and a ton of other stuff. Obviously, fights coming up this weekend. We're going to preview Porter versus Ugas, Bivol versus Joseph Jr. We have a ton of fights. Plus, today we had fights on ESPN Plus and I believe BT Sports with the Frank Warren card, Daniel Dubois, Anthony Yarde. I have not seen it. I will be completely honest. I have not seen that card. I heard Anthony Yarde did not put the best performance, but I'm not going to get into that. We maybe let the people that watch the card in the comment section or the live chat tell us how that card played out. But digressing from all of that, I'm joined on tonight's show on this late night edition with the illustrious Mr. Fugatti. How you doing, Chewbacca?
Doing great, guys. A lot of fucking news to get to, so it's gonna be one hell of a show. I'm glad we got some people watching. Looks like the UK is up and ready to hear about Wilder potentially going to DAZN, going back on his word. He's nuts. He's gonna be repping DAZN probably, right? So yeah, let's get at it.
Yes, let's get right into it, as you stated. Mike Coppinger coming out and saying, sources, Deontay Wilder in talks with DAZN will meet with John Skipper next week. Lou DiBella orchestrated face-to-face between Wilder and Skipper. After Wilder's phone call with Skipper, Al Heyman and Shelley Finkel were notified. Believed all 5 parties will meet next week. Just to add sort of all of the Wilder news and information of the last 48 hours, so to speak, maybe 36 hours. Lou DiBella knew, given the relationship between Eddie Hearn and the heavyweight title holder, that no deal could be completed that way. A new multi-fight offer expected to be presented by DAZN in person next week. DiBella declined comment. And also, Deontay Wilder was on the Boxing Voice, I believe it was either today or yesterday, and said basically to the effect, where is that? Right here. We will be one champion, one face, one name, and might be soon. You will get the Wilder versus Joshua show. I love Showtime. This is not farewell. It's only goodbye for a little bit. I'm going to hear them out first and foremost. And again, that was on the Boxing Voice. Fu. Oh, let's also just add one more caveat to this information. Yesterday was reported by Mike Coppinger that, again, sources, Deontay Wilder's planned May 18th heavyweight title defense against Dominic Breazeale is pegged for a Showtime pay-per-view. Top Rank offered Wilder $12.5 million, and PBC had to contend with the 8-figure payday necessitating pay-per-view. Again, this came out before the DAZN offer, before the Wilder interview with the Boxing Voice. Fu, I'm going to let you sort of take the helm here and give your thoughts on all of this. 'Cause I know you have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm still sort of trying to understand from all the different angles we could take what's sort of the best angle to take. I will say this, though. I was right. I want to put that first and foremost. I believe I said on the last show, Fu, maybe correct me on this. I was like, Rob, look, obviously Eddie Hearn and Wilder don't seem to be getting along and don't seem to be able to make the deal. Why doesn't John Skipper come in? Why doesn't DAZN come in directly with Wilder, make the deal? I feel like that could easily be done. And look what's happening. Just saying, it made logical sense. And obviously, I think Wilder sees the logic in it. But Fu, your thoughts on, again, the DAZN offer / deal / meeting this week. On top of that, again, Showtime, sort of their last-ditch effort with Wilder for his next fight is a Breazeale pay-per-view. And your thoughts on that as well, Fu?
They're listening, Matt.
They're listening.
I want smoke.
Cut us a check, Skipper.
Cut us a check.
No. No, look, man. I'm going to go first right at the pay-per-view. Ain't nobody going to watch Breazeale Wilder pay-per-view. Come on. And then what Espinoza came out and said $99 is a lie. It's like,
well, hold on,
we know it's a lie.
Well, yeah, that was a parody account. Like,
oh, was it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless.
Well, no, Espinoza was real, but he was commenting to a parody account.
Oh, why would he even do that? That's so stupid.
Because everyone makes those mistakes. I mean, everyone thinks that Boxing UK whatever shit is legit. They aren't. Even the quote real one isn't legit. So they can go fuck off.
It's hilarious that they would even play with putting that as pay-per-view. I mean, I understand
they're not playing it. That is their last. That is their play. That's their
last ditch effort. They literally won't be able to keep Wilder without it. Robbie was right. That they're gonna have to put that as pay-per-view. So every fight going forward for Showtime and Wilder would be pay-per-view. I mean, that's a scary world. A Kaunaki pay-per-view, Breazeale pay-per-view. I mean, look, guys, we don't want to live in that world. Let's not do that. But how great is it that Wilder is open to all these options?
Yes.
He's been very obstinate throughout all of this, talking about how he's not going to fight on DAZN. He's not going to fight on an app. All this, and finally the money and enough people I think that he cares about or respects their opinion are saying, look, man, don't limit your options. You can get the fights you want, and you're going to make a hell of a lot more money. And I think this kind of maybe proves that DAZN has some numbers that make sense in terms of viewership and things like that if a Wilder's thinking about going over there. I feel like they've got to be coming at him with some more information than just.
I don't know about that. Look, there's obviously a negative route I can take with that specific angle because, Fu, I know you weren't a part of boxing media back then, but I was. I remember when PBC had their rollout when they first began.
Yeah.
And the big criticism was they're overpaying fighters. The market can't sustain that. They're overpaying fighters. Steve Kim, Michael Montero, Dougie Fisher of the world, all of those people were criticizing PBC for overpaying fighters. And now we're thinking that DAZN can legitimately afford with their current numbers. Wilder, Triple G, Joshua, Canelo, and Klitschko, obviously because the Klitschko offer is out there that he's considering. I mean, there is a clear double standard on that criticism from a lot of people in the media. Just want to point that out. That we were a few years ago with a big vocal section of the media and fans saying PBC's overpaying fighters. Now DAZN's coming in here with starting from scratch, right? Starting from 0 subscribers, right? And throwing tens of millions of dollars at tons of fighters. And again, we're going to get into that Triple G news and whether that's going to be a great investment long term looking at that deal. But again, just want to point out there is a double standard out there. I don't know if, to your point, to connect it to where you're saying about DAZN must have the numbers and metrics to say, hey, we can afford this. I don't know if that's the case. I think they're looking at these fighters as loss leaders. I feel like Canelo's a loss leader. I feel like AJ's a loss leader. I feel like Wilder's a loss leader. Who else? Klitschko, obviously the offer to Klitschko being out there. Those are all loss leaders, in my opinion. Because there's no way their current structure, their current income in the U.S. market is enough to sustain all that. Maybe they draw in from their other markets in terms of revenue to obviously offset that. I would assume so. So it's probably not an issue long term. But for the U.S., if they're not able to, again, up their subscribers, they are loss leaders in this market. Again, digressing from that because it's a total side point that I just want to point out. Back to Wilder DAZN. I agree with you in large part. Like it's great that Wilder's listening to it. It seemed from the reporting also that he listened to the Top Rank offer because he went back to Showtime and they had to counter it with this pay-per-view, right? So it looks like, regardless of our thoughts or my thoughts about the market and the rapid inflation in just overall network budgets, Wilder is looking at that and saying, hey, I can find a deal. And it looks like this DAZN deal is not necessarily legit because we don't know more about it. But like you're saying, and what the reporting is, he is seriously looking at it. They're meeting with John Skipper. Do you take any conspiracy thoughts about the fact that Lou DiBella set it up and Al Heyman and Shelly Finkel were notified after the fact? And also, I will say that. I will say this. I will say the people that always make fun of Lou DiBella as like the promoter of Deontay Wilder, the fact that he's the one to facilitate this deal is hilarious to me. Because out of the 3 people, he was the last person even I thought was going to facilitate this deal with John Skipper and DAZN. But do you take any sort of conspiratorial thoughts about that at all?
I don't really. Wilder seems like a very loyal person. And from what he said in his interview with the Boxing Voice, he mentioned that his whole team would be a part of this, right? So Heyman will still be his advisor. Finkel will still be his promoter, manager. DiBella will be there. I don't think anything's going to change on that. I think this is probably just a case where the relationship with Finkel's not great. So DiBella kind of came in as a stand-in, and now he's kind of spearheading that, and then Skipper's going to come in, right? And then that kind of takes a lot of pressure off of the previous statements made or whatever, right?
From both parties, honestly.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Eddie Hearn's no longer involved with it. Shelly Finkel. You would argue those are the two most, I'm going to use this word, toxic people in the negotiation process were Shelly Finkel and Eddie Hearn. They're no longer in the negotiation process.
Yeah.
I think that is a noteworthy thing, and on top of that, probably a very productive thing as well. I honestly think we're going to see Wilder go to DAZN, and that is completely surprising. I never thought this was going to happen in a million years. I definitely thought this meeting was going to take place, but the way it's being worded by Mike Coppinger, the way the reporting is being stated, And again, the Deontay Wilder interview with the Boxing Voice, which I want you to sort of go into because I didn't see the interview. But he is basically saying buy Showtime. Like, he is saying that. And on top of that, I think he is also maybe thinking, regardless of where I'm going, I'm leaving. There's bigger money outside of Showtime right now.
Yeah, he slipped up. He was very choosy with his words in the beginning. And then as he got to feel comfortable, that's when he was like, look, it's not goodbye. It's not forever. Like, it's just, see you again in a little while. And at that moment, like, Ness came through and was like, yo, you just told us you're leaving Showtime. And he's like, no, I didn't say that. Right. But it's like, no, you said that.
But is that, is that just, because we know Wilder, I've interviewed him quite a bit. Is that just Wilder just sort of rambling and able just, talking out his ass away?
No, because in the context of how he said it, he was very clear in the moment. Like
it was sincere. Like, it seemed
like he was saying, like,
it wasn't just a ramble
you're gonna
of
get
Wilder.
The Joshua fight. You're going to get this. You're going to, and then, but it's not goodbye to Showtime. I love Showtime. They're family. It's not goodbye. It's like, see you again, And then he kind of, once he got caught, he was like, well, I'm still listening to offers from Showtime. They're always in this, like, they get first and last, all that, right?
Do you think DAZN's going to be able to match that? Whatever offer DAZN is going to give them or offer them?
Showtime will not be able to match whatever DAZN, because I think they're going to run into an issue where they can't afford to lose all the fighters. Like we talked about, the Charlos are fighting on Fox. Like who else are they going to have to?
Also, on that tidbit, it looks like Tony Harrison, Jamel Charlo is being looked at or scheduled for like June or something like that. I think on Showtime or something like that. So just keep an eye out for those sort of fighters being announced rather quickly. And especially if the Wilder fight or a Wilder fight is no longer on the docket, the money's not being spent on that, I would assume Showtime is going to have to pick up these sort of B-level, air quote, B-level PBC stars on their schedule, because the Showtime docket right now, it has been and is being heavily criticized.
Well, and B-level, like, just so everyone knows, we're not shitting on any fighters at PBC. We're just saying B-level in terms of viewership, right?
Yeah, like,
Charlos, those guys get numbers.
Charlos, you should know that you guys don't get the numbers of, like, a Deontay Wilder or an Adrian Broner. You guys should know that.
Yeah, and 92, I'm not saying they don't have those fighters. What I'm saying is those fighters haven't been fighting on Showtime. Whereas, like, Wilder and Gervonta Davis have been fighting on Showtime. Those other guys have been fighting on Fox. I bet you'll see, like, Caleb Plant, some of these other guys come into Showtime now, especially if Wilder's gone, right? I don't think they can match the offer. I also think even if they can, they don't have what DAZN has to offer him. If Klitschko's coming back, and that could be a big fight, if this could affect the Dillian White thing, maybe Dillian White doesn't go to Top Rank. This also is probably a response to the Fury thing. He's probably kind of giving Fury the finger. Like, you went to ESPN and you got a decent deal. Watch me go get this big DAZN deal. I'm also going to get the AJ
and
fight.
Also get the AJ
I'm also going to get all this shit. And you're going to be stuck over there at Top Rank fighting Jennings and Parker, and you're not going to go anywhere. He already laughed at him. In the interview, he point blank said, I don't need Fury. His $100 million contract is predicated on him getting a fight with me. If he doesn't get a fight with me, he doesn't get that $100 million.
And that's just not true.
Well, but I mean, Wilder sounded great in the interview. He sounded very clear.
Very quickly, were you saying that as in Fury was saying that to Wilder, or
no,
Wilder?
Wilder was saying that to Fury.
Okay,
you've got to get this fight with me because your $100 million depends on you getting the rematch. And I think that is somewhere in the contract that the Wilder fight was part of that.
There's been a lot of reporting. Same with like the Canelo contract, like the $365 million deal. Keith Idek, Mike Coppinger, Lance Pugmire, Dan Rayfield, like all the big time reports have come out and said, look, even though the reporting has said this is those figures, a lot of that is not a guarantee. A lot of that is up to certain sort of requirements and thresholds that either the network has to hit, the app has to hit, your fights have to hit in order to get those numbers. Tyson Fury's deal is similar to that reporting and sort of Canelo's deal, and the $100 million not being 100% guaranteed. I don't know how much it is guaranteed. We have no idea, obviously. Like, we're never going to know. But I think Wilder does have a point. I mean, I don't think a Fury-Dillian Whyte fight, which could be made. Dillian Whyte's still not signed to ESPN. It could be to sort of look at it from more of a macro sense here. DAZN picking up all these big pieces in the heavyweight division. ESPN trying to pick up all these big pieces in the heavyweight division. Who wins out in this arms race? Like, who wins out in also the streaming war? Like ESPN Plus versus DAZN. We have heard that Tyson Fury's first fight is going to be on ESPN Plus. Can DAZN get a massive market share, so to speak, with these big-time heavyweight boxing matchups? With the Wilder, Joshua, Klitschko. Maybe they steal Dillian Whyte back. Could that, again, win out the streaming war against ESPN Plus when they have only Fury, they have Crawford, they have Loma, they have UFC and other content. Your thoughts on that, Fu?
Well, it was very telling that today Whyte tweeted about Sky and
what did he say?
Matchroom. He said that they had a good relationship. All they needed to do was deliver him a belt. And that's very different in the form of how he's speaking about those things from the Top Rank, right?
Was it past tense?
No, let me pull it up real quick. Sorry, guys. This is shit.
Because that makes a difference. Like, it does.
Yeah,
like, the tense of how you're talking about the subject. If it's current, like, hey, if Sky can just get me a belt, I'm good. If it's sort of that context or that tone, it makes a difference. If it's Sky if all I wanted was Sky to get me a belt and they didn't, that seems a little bit more of a finality to it, a little more of a past tense. This is what I wanted. This is what I didn't get. I'm moving on.
No, it's present tense. He said,
Ooh.
Progression is a must. Eddie Hearn and Sky Sports Boxing just need to pull their finger out and land me a world title shot on good terms so we have another world champion in the UK. So he's saying, this is what I want from you guys. And I think what this leads me to believe is literally if there's a chance Wilder's going to end up on DAZN, there is no chance in my mind Dillian Whyte goes to Top Rank. I just don't think he wants to go there and be set with like maybe a Fury fight, a Jennings fight, a Parker fight, a Pulev fight, but that's not what he wants. And I think when you talk arms race, belts matter to these guys. And when there's, all 4 of the belts are going to be on DAZN if Wilder goes there, there's no chance other heavyweights are going straight to Top Rank. And I guarantee you, ESPN and Top Rank are going to change their tune in terms of if they are willing to work with DAZN, because there's no way they can stick Fury there and not give him any of those fights. This is the best scenario is Wilder going to DAZN, because I think it would break a lot of the barriers down in terms of who's willing to work with who, because they have to.
Well, similar to like the middleweight division. Like, I think Triple G's hand was not necessarily forced. I think regardless, he got, we're going to talk about his deal later, he got a massive long-term deal. And he got like a brand ambassadorship at the end. Like, he's good. Triple G's set, right? But the middleweight division was at DAZN. Right now, there's enough dichotomy with the ESPN lineup, with the PBC lineup / Showtime / Fox and DAZN, that there is sort of an equal balance between these parts. But if like a big chess piece like Wilder does go to DAZN, it does offset sort of the balance of the heavyweight landscape. It does sort of make it like the middleweight division, where now all of a sudden, you have to be in DAZN to get anywhere in this division. If you're not, you're gonna be left out. Every one of the belts are in this network. It's the welterweight division right now with Fox, basically, and the whole Fox lineup. Fu, I want your thoughts about, because I largely agree that Wilder, best case scenario, should go to DAZN. It makes the most sense. Do we get Wilder Brazil on DAZN in May? Is that what happens? Is that where your gut feeling is leaning? And then does that mean we get, obviously, a Wilder Joshua fight in September? And then on top of that, when we talk about Dylan White and he wants a title shot, if that is the lineup for Wilder and AJ, they're sort of busy for the next year. What does Dylan White do? How do they appease him? Sort of tackle those two questions.
Well, I think Dylan White's not getting that fight anyways, right? I mean, not until next year, most likely, regardless of where he goes. And if he goes to ESPN, he's not getting any kind of a fight with Fury probably for a year. There's no way they're going to waste that. Maybe late this year.
That fight's definitely going to be a summer fight. I'll put it this way. If Wilder stays at home, so to speak, if he stays at Showtime in Fox, if he stays with that conglomerate, and White still hasn't picked yet, he can pick either a Fury fight or an AJ fight this year. That's on the docket. That's on the schedule, I think. I 100% believe that if AJ comes in here and beats Miller in relatively convincing, decisive fashion, where there's no need for a rematch, there's no controversy, there's no funny business, right? And White, again, is a free agent, they will make the AJ White fight for September, August, sometime around that part of the year on DAZN. Or ESPN's going to offer Tyson Fury around that time of the year for ESPN/ESPN Plus. I 100%
Think of
believe
Eddie's
that.
sales pitch here, though, because White has set himself up very well. Eddie's sales pitch will be Wilder's coming to DAZN. If it looks like that's going to happen, which honestly I feel like it looks like that's what's going to happen. Why would he say we're going to get the Wilder Joshua show, right? If it looks like that's where he's leaning. So if I'm Eddie, I just say, look, Brazil is going to fight Wilder. Then Joshua is going to fight Wilder. Then there's going to be a rematch that needs to be negotiated. But at the end of all of that, you're getting a fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Just stick with me. It's going to happen. Just a matter of time. And in that time, you can fight, all these other fights that maybe aren't as big, but I'm going to pay you great for. We'll get you a deal with DAZN. We'll get you that DAZN deal that you wanted. You're still going to have your Sky stuff. You can do pay-per-views in the UK with me. I mean, he's in a position here to really save Dillian White from going anywhere else, especially if the Wilder thing happens. White will not go to ESPN if Wilder signs to DAZN.
Again, my scenario was if Wilder stays at home.
Yeah, absolutely. If Wilder stays at home, I could 100% see White going to ESPN. The reason being is I think he'd probably have a bigger contract, and he doesn't necessarily feel he's going to get those fights anyways that he wants at the other place, right? So I could see that being the worst case scenario. Showtime matches, we don't get the Joshua Wilder fight. White goes to ESPN, we don't get any of the good stuff we want, right?
No. I think you misunderstand what I'm saying. If Wilder stays in Showtime with Fox and White still has the DAZN and ESPN option, why wouldn't he go to DAZN? You don't think Eddie's going to offer him a title shot in this year? And again, stitching it back to my question, if Wilder, and both of us think Wilder is going to take this DAZN offer and DAZN deal, how can they appease White if now that sort of September, late summer, early fall AJ fight is now off the docket because Wilder is now the priority over at DAZN? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I see what you're saying. So Wilder stays at home, and then White goes to DAZN specifically to get the Joshua fight
Yes.
this year.
Yes.
I could see that happening, but it's really going to depend. How pissed is White at Hearn? Is it like, I'll go to ESPN, you don't have Wilder, and I'm going to kind of throw this big wrench in Joshua's career, right? I could see him doing that. He seems kind of like a wild man, you know? I hope that scenario doesn't happen because I really want the Wilder Joshua fight. I want Wilder to make the best decision for his career, whatever that is, obviously. And honestly, like I said before, and I'm going to stay true to, I don't think it's necessary for. What's he talking about?
No, don't worry about it. Just don't worry. Just keep going.
I don't think
ignore
it's
the
necessary
chat. Always
people...
ignore the chat, Foo. It's always key.
I just don't think it's necessary for you to be a part of a platform or a promotional company to get the fights you want. And I'm going to say, just like I said with Wilder going to ESPN, it shouldn't be necessary for him to go to DAZN to get a Joshua fight. But if him going to DAZN makes a Joshua fight happen and ESPN and DAZN work together better, then I'm for that. If it's better for boxing as a whole. But it's also, what if this might push Showtime to be like, look, we'll get you the Joshua fight. We're going to work with DAZN. We're going to make it happen. If it's more money there, you can have the fight there. This might push.
Is there a
right?
scenario where Showtime is still involved? You know what I mean?
I think there could be. I mean,
do you think? I know, I personally have a higher opinion of Steven Espinoza than 99% of our listener base, and probably you, Foo, and guaranteed Rob. Do you think Espinoza would have like an ego pride issue with sort of being the second fiddle? Like, hey, our name's going to be in the lower hand of all the posters, and that's about it. I'll be at the press conferences. That's about it. We can do a little bit of promo material, maybe get some replay rights. That's about it. And DAZN gets all of the live rights to Deontay Wilder for the next 3 to 6 fights. Does Espinoza / Showtime put down their ego and pride for that?
I think
that's what it would have to take, right? That's what it would have to take.
Yeah. I mean, because what's their other option? Their other option is, okay, see what the Charlo brothers do on Showtime. See what Gervonta Davis does on Showtime. See what Jarrett Hurd, who could potentially leave, because if you think about it, Jarrett Hurd's literally going to have one more fight at 154, and then he's moving up to 160. So where is 160 on fire? DAZN. Where is there a lot of money? DAZN. Like, they might not even have Hurd if, at the point that he decides, I need to be where the belts are. I need to be in the best position to further my career. And Hurd's always been he unifies. He tries. Like, he wants all of the belts, So I don't see him just sticking around for maybe money fights on Showtime at 160, So, yeah, I think Showtime could still be a player. I think Espinoza would swallow his pride to keep Wilder. I think that is a good scenario for boxing if that happens, that these guys start all working together. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see. Again, very interesting news. And I think news most were unexpected. I thought it was a smart play by DAZN. I didn't know if they were actually going to do it. Quite shocking. I mean, it definitely shows DAZN is serious about making this fight. On top of that, again, sort of trying to grab a lion's share of the market when it comes to a division. They seem to be trying to monopolize certain divisions. Middleweight's one. It's a big money weight division right now. Heavyweight is also the other sort of money weight division at this point. It does make sense. I want to circle it back to, before we jump off this topic, and actually let's go to Triple G, and then we're going to circle back to this. The whole DAZN versus ESPN Plus, who wins this, streaming war? Because I think there's a lot of relevance or sort of, I don't know, debate we could have. And again, I think you Fugatti, are quite skilled in talking about, big macroeconomic situations and concepts. You're quite intelligent and intellectual, more so than me, so I would appreciate that. But DAZN announces Triple G's 3-year, 6-fight agreement, obviously setting up a Canelo fight sometime this year. It seems not a lot of information has been disclosed about this deal, but it's official. Triple G has gone to DAZN. Fu, your thoughts on Triple G? Again, pretty much what we assumed, signing this deal, making it official. My only big sort of shocker about this was the 6-fight attachment. I didn't expect it to be a long-term deal, like a 6-fight deal. Triple G is going to be 37 soon. He didn't seem to want a long-term deal in the initial negotiation process, or at least from what we heard. On top of that, I don't think if you're DAZN, you want to be locked in for long-term with a guy that most of us think is nearing a drop-off point in his career athletically. So that was my only sort of like, whoa, I didn't expect this stipulation of the deal. But Fu, your thoughts on Triple G signing to DAZN officially?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, right? Yeah. It seems like DAZN is really kind of hitting their stride right now. Even though Triple G is aged, obviously, and like you said, 37, he'd be 37, like what, later this year, next year? 6-fight deal. You're looking, Triple G's not a 3-fight a year guy. So it's a 2-fight a year guy. So we're looking like 3-year deal potentially. So I mean, my take on Triple G coming over is that I think DAZN is really putting their foot on the gas to dominate the market in the first quarter, like we talked about before, right? They really want to show a huge improvement in subscriber base in the first half of this year. And they're talking that first Triple G fight being in that June time. So it's like, you're going to have Canelo, Joshua, Triple G, like in 1 month of subscription, basically, or like 2 months of subscription. So how can anyone not buy at that point? It's $20 and you're getting 3 pay-per-view fighters, basically big fights, really good fights, right? So maybe Triple G's won't be huge, but honestly, no one will care because it's Triple G, like,
it's noteworthy. It definitely moves the needle in a way.
Yeah. And so I think it just proves that they're serious and willing to lose money. And I talked to you about this before because at one point I was in the video game industry, and it's like Sony, to get to where they are now on a PlayStation platform and their dominance of that model, lost a lot of money, but they funneled a lot of money in from their other brands, like their TVs and things like that. So I think that's kind of how DAZN is going to do it. They've got rights to, football in Europe. They're buying up all the major rights, like Italy. They got the Italian football league. They're going to probably get that in Mexico. There's a bunch of stuff going on there. And Canada, they have rights to the NFL. They've got some stuff on baseball. So they're going to funnel a lot of those money makers and use that as like a way to, pump money into boxing to get these things going and to really build their brand in the US, because they are profitable everywhere else. They've got a bunch of subscribers. I think I heard they have like 13 million subscribers in Germany.
Yeah.
Is a guess, right?
Well, DAZN's massive in Germany. It's massive in Japan. I forget a couple other markets that's pretty big in, but yeah, it's pretty. It's growing globally. That's one thing that seems to be pretty apparent. I hear they're about to, in the next, I think, like 12 to 18 months, can open up in the UK. That's gonna be interesting to see sort of where Eddie Hearn goes, long term. But digressing from that, I want to add some more detail to this DAZN Triple G deal. Triple G will start his own Triple G promotions with DAZN, and he will feature, I believe it is 2 fight cards per year with his own promotional company without him. From what I've seen on social media from reporters and just people talking about it, it's sort of not talked about, but it's assumed that Tom Lawfer is still going to be involved in some way with promoting Triple G and Triple G Promotions. I don't know how involved he will be with K2 and etc., but just want to make that of note. On top of that, again, he has sort of purchased equity in DAZN. What that really means, I don't know, but I believe the way Keith Hidek is talking about it is that through his fight purses, he'll be able to sort of purchase it almost in like a fee off of it, like the top of his fight purse, and part of that goes towards equity. And I don't know. I'm not an economics guy, so I don't know what that really means mostly. But anyways, want to add sort of that detail to the deal. On top of that, the only sort of monetary figure that is given is that the Canelo fight and the Trilogy fight will be a $30 million plus payday for Triple G, which I believe in the second fight he only got maybe, 20-something million. So it's at least a little bit of a pay increase for the Canelo fight, and I would assume he's making 15, 20 million, maybe a little bit lower than that for all the tune-ups and potential money, maybe not all on guarantee. Fu, again, sort of back to DAZN versus ESPN, this battle, the streaming war. Is this heavyweight division, is the middleweight division, are these sort of attempts to monopolize, again, these sort of money weights in boxing, is it going to pay off? Or is it going to be enough to where the subscribers are going to be watching, they're going to bring in enough subscribers where it makes money long term? On top of that, if the answer is yes, do you think they really contend with ESPN as like a sporting property? Because that's the goal, right, of DAZN in the U.S. is to be the worldwide leader of sports, the U.S. leader of sports. To do that, you have to beat ESPN. Is this heavyweight division, is this Triple G signing, and obviously the Canelo, Jacobs, Andrade, the entire monopolization of the division, is that going to actually work to achieve that goal in your mind?
This is a very complex question,
and take your time.
So here's what I feel. I don't think Top Rank has the stable at any weight to compete. Like, say you look at Showtime, Fox, FS1 with 147 pounds, right? Then you go and you look at like even Showtime, Fox, FS1 with 168. They've got some of the better names there. 154, some of the better names there. Who does where does Top Rank fit in any of those where they have the majority or even a couple of talented names? Like they have Vasily Lomachenko, but who else do they have at 135?
They have Comey in a way, because obviously his last fight was on ESPN. I don't know what his deal is, but he's another champion. They have Pedraza. They have Teofimo Lopez. God knows what he's going to be like. He hasn't main evented the card yet, so we don't know what his drawing power is.
But who do they have at 147? Who do they have at 160? Who do they have at 168? Who do they have at heavyweight? Who do they have at 122? I mean, when you look,
they have a great light heavyweight division, but that's just not a money-making division right now. It just isn't.
No. And then even worse, those guys move up into cruiserweight, and that's definitely not a money-making division, right? So, I mean, yeah, like realistically. So I think that DAZN has a better stable, that especially what they're building at 160. You look at him even at 122 pounds. You're looking now like you've got some really good talent at 126. You know, I mean, they're players in a lot of divisions, and where heavyweight and middleweight, they're the game. They're not just players. They own it, right?
Yeah.
And then 147, PBC owns it. You know, 154, PBC kind of owns it right now,
Yeah.
right? So 168, PBC kind of owns it right now.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
realistically, the best 168 is on Matchroom, but I think PBC owns it in terms of like drawing power. Because I don't think Callum Smith's a draw.
And on top of that, just the amount of like the top 10, top 15 names, most of them are PBC fighters.
Yeah. So I don't think ESPN has any of that. The other thing, and this is kind of a more of a macro view, and maybe more of a microscopic view actually, but ESPN's real money is in the UFC. Let's be real.
Yes.
That's where they're pumping a lot of their money, a lot of their advertising. They're hurting themselves in terms of not having Joshua on hurts them in boxing. They don't have that issue with UFC.
But that again goes back to my point, because ESPN, or specifically ESPN Plus, because we're talking about streaming platforms more specifically than the ESPN network. I think the ESPN network is always going to thrive being a like news sort of platform where it's just the talking radio talk show over and over again 24/7. That's what it is. It's the CNN, Fox News, MSNBC of sports in the U.S. Like that, it will always be that. But for ESPN Plus as a property versus DAZN, I think there's a legit argument to make that the UFC, combined with whatever other ESPN Plus content there is, has more of an effect in the sports entertainment landscape than the DAZN property right now, DAZN US property right now.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Okay. My question is, again, can the attempt to get Deontay Wilder, let's say for argument's sake, just for this scenario, they get Deontay Wilder, they get Dylan White. They have those names. They have Triple G. They have Klitschko even. Let's add a Klitschko in that mix just to really give DAZN all the options here. Is that enough to upset that balance in any way?
Well,
that's fundamentally my question, because you're right that UFC does a lot more for ESPN and specifically ESPN Plus than Top Rank. That's absolutely my point. That's absolutely right. But that does not take away from my point. Because my question is, can Joshua, Wilder, White, can Canelo, Triple G, Jacobs, Andrade, can those names be enough to put DAZN on top of ESPN? And also 92 said a point like they can both coexist. They can, but for the sake of this question and the line of where I'm thinking and the angle I want to take it,
in a Highlander world, if there can be only one.
Or not even that.
Yeah,
I think DAZN has said, we want to be number one. They have said that. They have laid that gauntlet out. So, again, with AJ, with Wilder, with White, with Klitschko, with the middleweight division, is that enough to upset the balance and for them to be number one as a streaming platform?
I think for both of them, what is going to matter is what other content is available, right? So, UFC is the biggest in terms of American audience. So partnered with Top Rank, yes. They are currently, I think, positioned to be the best. But what happens if DAZN gets baseball? Like some rights to baseball games. What happens if DAZN gets the NFL in America where they have it in Canada already, right? Those are things that I think will determine the full outcome, right?
You are absolutely right.
Yeah.
And again, that does not answer my question. Or maybe it does answer my question. Does the boxing content of DAZN, does the pickup of Wilder, does the money invested into this sport, will it be enough to make DAZN number one?
In our hearts, yes. No, I mean,
in our hearts, yes.
It won't. It won't. We've seen the numbers from
92 is saying yes. He's saying, Matt, you just named all the biggest stars. And I'll be honest, when I started naming off all those names, I'm like, damn, maybe it is enough. Like maybe.
Well, here's the thing. What are we talking about? Are we talking number one for boxing fans? Because yes,
No.
if we're talking number one in sheer dominance of, subscriber base and
Yes.
the machine behind it.
Yes.
No,
that's what I'm
that's
talking
not
about.
enough, because there's not enough boxing fans in the U.S. to do that. There's just not. There's way more UFC fans. There's way more mixed martial art fans. There's way more people that are going to have ESPN for all the other content like that ESPN's going to deliver, because ESPN's going to deliver hockey, baseball, football, soccer, everything, right? And DAZN's going to do that, but right now they entered a market where a lot of those rights are already locked down. So they're not getting any of those rights. We even talked about this. They put a shitload of money into baseball just to have a talk show about a highlight reels in baseball.
And I want to say that budget for that one talk show is more than the entire boxing budget combined, or maybe not including the Canelo deal. But I think like the entire Matchroom budget, it's bigger than that. It's I think it's far bigger than that, or it's maybe even bigger than the Canelo deal. I forget which one it's bigger than, but it's massive, and it's only for a talk show. But again, I don't know, to sort of step it back a bit. I don't know. This is all fantasy. I know it is, and that's the fun of it. But these are questions that I guarantee you execs are asking themselves, asking their experts, their analysts inside their companies, how do we win? How do we become number one? How do we control the sports entertainment landscape? DAZN's asking that. ESPN is asking that. Especially in the new streaming era, these are the new sort of platforms. It's DAZN, it's ESPN Plus. Fox and Showtime are sort of adapting their websites and their apps to fit streaming. I don't know how that's going to work long term, especially with sports. But it's just a fascinating topic that I love to debate. I love to talk about. And again, I also like to hear your thoughts about it, Fu. Because I don't know if AJ and all these names are enough. I think in a weird way, ESPN Plus has received so much criticism and so much sort of I don't know, sort of reviews of mediocrity that compared to DAZN, where I think most of us think DAZN's are a fantastic platform. It's fun, it's easy to use. If they get big names, and if they again in a couple of years, was it 2023 or 22 is when the NFL is up and when MLB is up, maybe this entire conversation is different in just 4 years, 3 years. It's going to be fascinating to see what that is like. And maybe boxing isn't going to be the path to get DAZN to be number one. Maybe that's not the point. And maybe these can be lost leaders and it doesn't matter. But switching back to my point way earlier in the show, talking about overpaying fighters, this is a concern though. If DAZN cannot get those big fixtures, the NBA rights, MLB rights, NFL rights, any sort of rights, and they're spending a lot of money in boxing and it's not getting them to the number one slot in sports, that is a concern long term, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Fu, any last thoughts on these DAZN deals, the economic landscape of boxing and sports, anything like that?
No, I think we're good on all that. Unemployed Mario Yamasaki asked
Great name.
if you could give a happy birthday to his daughter. I don't know her name though. I haven't seen it, but
Go shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. And you know we don't give a fuck if that's your birthday.
There you go. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I was playing that. I'm like, it might be quite offensive because it's saying go
if
shorty.
She's super young for sure.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh.
But anyway, that's our happy birthday song. So
Sorry.
I mean, we don't mean anything by it, Mario. But no, I think it's really going to come down to the other products that are available on these, and I really think there's so my last point, I guess, on this whole thing, really quickly,
stealing all my lines. Say digressing next.
Oh, sorry. The world that we live in is a kind of like a sans cable world, right? So it's a lot of people are disconnecting from traditional cable companies, like, and to have like a CBS app to where you could watch like baseball or football, you have to have cable. Even if you download it on your phone, it's gonna ask who's your cable provider, right? DAZN doesn't have that. So I wonder if like NFL or NBA, if they're going to start looking at, hey, this app could get us a whole lot of money if we sell our rights, and people don't have to have cable to do it. And with people disconnecting from cable, our viewership's gone down. This was the lowest rated Super Bowl, I think, in quite some time. So you start looking at things like that, and I feel like DAZN and some of these other places might be really well positioned to get some of these rights later on, because we're going away from a traditional TV route, you know? So
absolutely agree. Let's get to this Porter Ugas card coming up tomorrow on Fox. I gotta say, as the fight does come closer, like it's tomorrow, I am excited for it. And minus the whole weight controversy with Shawn Porter and also Maurice Hooker, it's also been sort of minus controversy. But I think the matchup of this fight is fun. I think Porter's relentless volume, style, aggression, sort of, athleticism, grinding athleticism, and Ugas's penchant for one punch sort of counters and loading up on the big shots. I think this is going to be one-way traffic for Shawn Porter and be a really fun fight in the process. A fight that I see going to the decision. I see it going all 12. But Ugas is... I mean, every time Ugas has stepped up to a fight where I think, this is the fight where I need him to show me something. I need him to show me some sort of side of him that I can say, yes, that's the thing I can pinpoint and go, he can give the elite guys trouble. He's never done that in those step-up fights. So I can't really think that those, again, one-shot counters, the loading up of the right hand and left hook, that's going to be enough to beat Shawn Porter, even a struggling to cut weight Shawn Porter. I think Shawn Porter is going to outwork him for 12 rounds, beat him up in the process. And it'd be a fun fight because I like Shawn Porter fights. I might be in a minority because I like boring UFC fights sometimes. So, God, a Shawn Porter fight's amazing. I can see him headbutt people in football style, throw punches and combinations all for, 700 punches, 800 punches for 12 rounds. I can see that any Saturday. Fu, your thoughts on this Fox main event, Porter versus Ugas? And also sort of a little bit of your thoughts on the weight controversy this morning with him missing weight and having to cut his hair a la like amateur wrestling style to make weight.
Shaved his pubes, all that. No, it's so wild, man. Like, two guys almost lost their belt on the scales tonight. That's just so crazy to me. The weight is concerning because, let's face it, Ugas is not an easy out. Like, it's going to be I felt like it was going to be a tough fight for Porter anyways.
Really?
Look,
you think it's going to be tough?
Porter puts himself in harm's way. That's the thing. He's always right in the phone booth with everyone. He smothers his own work. If he gets caught and gets put down, like, I don't think a draw is out of the ordinary. Slap nuts saying I'm betting a draw. I don't think that's out of the ordinary. I don't think that's anything like crazy. I've told you this before, and I don't mean this disrespectful toward Porter. I do not like his style.
I know you hate Porter. I know.
I don't hate Porter. I don't like his style.
Don't worry, he's not listening. Trust me, he's not listening. Don't worry.
Porter, if you're listening, you seem like a fantastic guy. I do not like the way you box. I wish you were smarter about controlling distance and not just getting right up on someone. He puts himself in a position to get countered, and if it's a good counter puncher, if he could get put down very easily. So I think this
But
fight,
Ugas-
if he's weight drained and struggling with that, could be an issue. That's all I'm saying. I think he will win. But I think that when you're struggling with weight, there's a lot to me that factors into that. And is he going to come in here mentally as good as he would have if he had made weight easy? That's usually an indication of other things, correct?
Yes. Yeah, but he also didn't struggle too much making weight again. Hooker was the one that really struggled making weight again. I think it was only off like a pound or something like that. I'm not too concerned by it, I'll be honest. Again, I mean, Ugas is a guy that he's lost fights he shouldn't lose. Fights he should win, he has heavily struggled in, like the Thomas Delorme one. Gary, you can call in. The phone line's open. Relax. Say, let me get my picks.
He's coming for me.
I want to address something with Fu. He wants to smoke, Fu. What did you say to him? Did you piss him off?
Damn it. I don't know.
I want smoke.
Man, damn. Fuck. Relax, Gary. Phone line's open. 323-870-4051. But anyways, let's not stay too much on it because I've never thought too much about Ugas. I'll be honest. It's similar to maybe how you don't think too much of Shawn Porter. I don't think too much of Ugas, and I've always thought quite a lot about Shawn Porter. I always thought of him quite highly, even though everyone seems to hate on my man Shawn Porter. But anyways,
but I do remember that when we were watching Crawford versus Ndongo, you were like, oh, I think everyone underrates Ndongo. And I was like, no. This fight's not going to last long. So maybe you're right. Maybe this guy's just not tested enough, right? Or maybe Ugas is going to knock Porter out. I don't think it'll happen, but
digressing.
I actually like Porter. He's a nice guy.
He's a really nice guy. So is his dad. Like that, they're a nice sort of like I'm about to say couple, but that sounds mad weird. But like they're a nice pair. Like in terms of like dad son relationship in boxing. Like they're a breath of fresh air. Like I've been around Robert Guerrero, who's also on this card, fighting Heavenson Herrera. We're not going to talk about that card. Robert Guerrero, please retire. But I've been around Guerrero and his dad, Ruben Guerrero, and they're kind of fun. They're cool, but Shawn and Ken, they're awesome. They're really fun people. But let's get through the rest of this undercard. Francisco Santana versus Abel Ramos, a fun action fight at welterweight. Neither guy is going to be anything or will be anything. Both of them have enough losses that have shown us where they place in the division, sort of in the top 30. But a good action fight. F.A. Agaba against Amir Mansour, a fight that I am really, really excited for. Oh my God, this is a big step up. Amir Mansour is historically a spoiler, I would say. Like his legacy is going to be one of like. Every time he has fought a prospect, he's made them look bad. Every time he's fought a contender, he makes them look bad. Even in losing fights, he makes everyone look bad. And F.A., let's be honest, Fu, has looked nothing but perfect in his 8 fights.
This is a big step up. Very, very big step up.
So we're going to actually sit here and briefly talk about this fight in particular. Nothing else on the card really sticks out to me of note, I'll be honest. But this fight in particular, F.A. Agaba versus Amir Mansour, it does. I don't know what to pick here because F.A. is just unproven. He's completely untested, completely unproven. Amir Mansour may be old, maybe faded, but he can. Excuse me. He can bang. To use the MMA term. Shout out to Julian Lane.
Bang.
Julian. He's highly durable. He is tricky on the inside. He's hard to play with at range. He is just complete spoiler. I don't know if FA is going to come in here and look good. This is going to be a fight where he will look bad, and he might even lose. Like I'm not even going to make a pick on this fight. I'm going to to be a coward here and totally just not pick and abstain from making a pick, because I can see Mansoor just old manning FA here, right? I mean, am I doubting FA too much, or am I 100% right that we should question a guy that's 8-0 against nobody fighting a guy that is tested against elite competitors?
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% a fight you should question. Why are you taking this fight at 8-0 with really no one on your resume with the experience of Amir Mansour? Like, right? It's like this. I get it. I do. I love it, because if it was like 30 fights and he wasn't taking anything like this, we'd be like, man, when's this guy going to step up? But then there's like rushing people, and it's kind of like, if even at this point, like if Teofimo Lopez, if it was like, hey, we're going to throw him in there against Loma or Mikey, we'd probably be like, damn, he's looked really good, but who's he fought on that level? Like, this is going to be a huge step up. Like, he's probably going to lose, or really is going to be not a betting favorite in those fights, right?
Now,
this is a tough one.
Just to briefly touch on it. Amir Mansour, like I've said, is faded. He is shot. I mean, he's a guy that has lost his last couple fights. I know one of them was overturned to no contest against Sergey Kuzman and Filip Hrgovic, who I think is now with Matchroom, right? Filip Hrgovic is another guy that's like 5-0 at the time. A very young prospect with a lot of talent. He knocked him out in like 3 rounds. Can FA come in here and do that? Again, am I just doubting him? I think somebody in the chat was saying, Matt, you're just doubting him. I could be wrong here. Maybe Amir Mansour is just done. His time to be in tough, durable fights are long gone. The Jared Washington, Joey DeWalco sort of wars, those are, again, years ago now. And now he's being knocked out in early fashion in back-to-back-to-back fights. And FA is going to do the same. Is that what we're really seeing here? And we're being sort of sold a false bill of goods here about this matchup and how much of a step up it is?
I mean, if he looks really good in this matchup, I think it's really going to propel him to be kind of like this, like not superstar, but people are really going to start paying attention to this guy, like even more than certain fans already do. Like, there's a lot of fans who know him, and just because I think he's with Finkel, right? And I think with DeBella as well or something. I mean, so he's definitely already someone people are hoping does really well. And if he shows out in a step up like this, it's going to be huge for him, especially with the number of fights. So I don't know. I feel like it could be a step too soon, but you never know until you throw people in there. I mean, and let's be real. Like, if you take that step up and lose, it's not going to hurt him. It's not going to slow him down. It's an experience regardless. Like, Loma is doing 2.5 million views per fight, and he lost his second professional fight. I mean, so I don't think people really care about the losses like they used to. People just want to see good fights, and they want to see people moved along, and they want to see the step ups. So.
Absolutely agree. Let's get to the DAZN card. Dmitry Bivol versus Joe Smith Jr. A fight that I don't see being boring. I don't see how this fight is anything but entertaining, other than maybe Bivol comes out here and he puts on like a Caleb Plant like dominant performance and just outboxes Joe Smith and jabs him to death for 12 rounds, and it's so one-sided and it sort of Bivol goes into cruise control. But I don't see that happening. Bivol is never, I may sound like a Bivol hater, and I kind of am. I'll admit that. Bivol has not shown anything to me where I think he can put on that performance against Joe Smith Jr. I think Joe Smith is going to get on the inside, is going to get in the mid-range, and going to be able to sort of force exchanges out of Bivol, force firefights out of Bivol, and we're going to see Bivol tested in some ways. But because of that, I think Joe Smith is going to open himself up to combinations, to moments of getting hurt by the superior technician in Bivol. I think Bivol's going to get a late fight finish, maybe 8, 9, 10, in a really fun back-and-forth fight. But I just think the jab, the timing, the shot selection of Bivol is going to be too much. I think he's going to look a little bit like Mikey Garcia here and just sort of outbox him and beat him up in the process. And again, in a really fun fight. Fu, your thoughts on this DAZN main event?
Yeah, I think early rounds, Bivol will be, he's always very disciplined. There's a great jab, good 1-2, So I think what'll happen is early on, Smith will have some success as he's filling him out, getting his range. 7th to 10th round, he'll probably dominate and end up getting a stoppage somewhere in there, right? Bivol impresses me. I get what you're saying in the terms of comparing him to Mikey Garcia, because I think that's a pretty apt comparison because they're both very technical boxers. Neither one is extremely flashy. There's no real lateral movement. It's a lot of, back, straight forward, but great jab, great fundamental boxer, very disciplined. He's going to win. And I think I'm pretty sure it'll be a late stoppage. Because I don't think he'll turn it on early. I don't think he'll make any mistakes early on that would put him in a bad position. And I think, like you said, Joe Smith will end up putting himself in a bad position just trying to make something happen later on. And Bivol, by accumulation, will end up stopping him.
Agreed. Let's get to the co-main event. Maurice Hooker versus Mikhail Lespierre. Hooker finally making weight after several attempts and really struggling and honestly making me highly concerned about this matchup. Lespierre is a guy that I don't know a lot about. I have seen some of his fights, but he's a guy that is really, really untested. A guy that has fought no one with and he just has an undefeated record, and that means very little to me. And his style, while looking good, on paper doesn't make me think he can beat Maurice Hooker. But with the added weight cut issue and a real struggle to make this weight, Fu, put over to you. Your thoughts on Hooker versus Lespierre, and does the weight cutting debacle play a massive factor in this fight? And do we get a return to Hooker's old form of putting on bad performances?
Man, I'm really shocked by I actually talked about this at work today because we had some really big visits and I was just imagine your only job is to train and make weight for a fight. That's what you do for a living. And then you miss weight for a title fight. You're a belt holder who could lose it. The lack of discipline there is so scary to me because to me, it
might not be that. I mean, with Hooker,
or you just can't get down anymore. Or
Hooker specifically, I mean, he's a gigantic guy for that division.
Yeah, but then in terms of that, it's even scarier because how healthy is he going to be coming into it? How much is it taken out of him to make the weight?
Hooker's not Gervonta Davis, where we have a history and a public record of a lack of dedication in the sport, right? Hooker has never shown us that. So I would not label him this is a sign of being undisciplined. I would not say that. I think this is more of a sign of Hooker's time in this division may be done.
Yeah.
And that might be the issue.
Yeah, and I can totally see that. And I didn't mean it to be I'm not trying to shit on anyone. It's just in my eyes, it's I know how for them mentally, it has to do something to them, right? If you have to try to make weight 4 times, you're panicking, you're going to lose your belt on the scales. you're not thinking about all the things you need to be thinking about going into a fight. You're not going to be where you should be mentally when you're defending a belt. Now, like somebody said, he's not fighting a killer,
Mm-hmm.
So look,
like I'm still leaning Hooker, but this weight cut is concerning. It is.
Absolutely. It's really like one of those picks. Like I'm going to pick Hooker, but if he looks, it depends on how he looks tomorrow. Like how, in terms of not in the fight, but in the other stuff to the fight. How's he, what are the reports going to be? How's he going to look when he's hitting pads in the back? How's he, is he going to be the Hooker we saw last fight?
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, like you said, he's not bankable. Like he's had a lot of performances that left you kind of wanting more. So more than all that, I just hope he's okay, because I think the weight cutting thing and rehydration clauses, and I just really wish they would get better about these things in terms of like how much weight is he cutting? They really need to start putting a limit on how much weight they're going to let. If you walk around at 180 pounds or 170 pounds, you shouldn't be cutting to 140. You walk 165, you shouldn't be cutting to 140. It's just not healthy, So hopefully some changes are made in the sport. I know a lot of people talk about that, and I don't want to beat that dead horse, but it scares me that it took him so long to make it.
Hey, every fighter out there that's doing extreme weight cutting,
that's stupid. Use your common sense.
Come on, guys. Use your common sense. A brief mention of the undercard here. Callum Johnson versus Sean Monahan. Should be a fun action fight at light heavyweight. I'm picking Callum Johnson to win. Sergey Kuzman versus Joey DeWalco. Another sort of fun action fight at heavyweight. I'm picking Sergey Kuzman, who has looked absolutely spectacular in his sort of career thus far. Fu, any last thoughts on this card?
No, this will be a very fun card. I think I'm hoping we see something from Bivol that really puts him on that level that we could see him competing with, because I think right now, would you say it's fair to say he's probably the least likely to retain his belt against another belt holder in that division?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. No, we're gonna talk about somebody else in this division later on, but there's another Eastern European that comes to mind that is definitely this is the guy. If he fights any of these champions, he does not win.
Okay, got you.
No, Bivol's good, but I agree with you that he doesn't look like this next all-time great like some boxing hipsters want to say. He doesn't sort of the eye test. He doesn't pass that eye test for me. Pass the eye test of like a really talented elite competitor. But for example, when we watched Terrence Crawford on the come up or Earl Spence on the come up, you kind of just knew, right? Like you sort of just saw greatness in them, in real distinct, in a sense, flashy, artistic ways. Even Spence, I would argue, he was flashy in his own way. Bivol was never that. And he also really doesn't have the wins yet to make me go, okay, this is the win, and also in the fashion. He doesn't have like a Lamont Peterson in the fashion of a Lamont Peterson-like performance like Earl Spence did. You know what I mean? Like his fight against Isaac Chilemba was a little bit more tough than I think a lot of people expected. Along with other fights. Again, he's one of those guys where he's sort of at moments been in matchups where we expect him to sort of be put over, to use a pro wrestling term, where he is to have that performance, that electric performance where we go, okay, he's the guy. Similar to Caleb Plant, Jose Uzcategui, right? Like that was one of those performances where we look and go, wow, this is a breakout performance. We now know the greatness of Caleb Plant, how fantastic and elite he is as a boxer. We really don't have that sort of performance with a Bivol at light heavyweight. Just not my opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping we see. Is something different, something where it's like, oh, okay, that was always there. He just didn't maybe have to use it before. but he broke it out. He had to do it for this.
Sean in the chat saying the Barrera win is better than Peterson. I wouldn't say that. I would say the Earl Spence Lamont Peterson win was super impressive. Like he demolished and dominated Peterson for every second of that fight for 7 rounds, and then put him out there. The Barrera fight versus Bivol was a little bit more ho-hum, a little bit less devastating. Again, Bivol just doesn't scream to me all-time great. He just doesn't. And hey, guess what, guys? Not everyone has to be all-time greats, or at least pass that eye test. And also, we agree saying Plant's elite. The question mark? Yes, he beat Jose Uzcategui. You how would you not say Plant is
not
elite?
just beat him, dominated him, like completely dominated him.
I want to hear that argument about Plant not being elite. Please call in. Skype,
you know what?
Phone
You know
line,
what? What Bivol really does have. He has like, I imagine if you were in the wild and a bear was looking at you, Bivol has dead eyes, like the predator eyes, man. Like I imagine when you face off with that guy, you're like, holy shit, this guy could kill me any instant, and he probably wouldn't even mourn me. Like he has those killer eyes. He just looks so like he's so stoic and just focused on what he's doing. Face-offs have to be a nightmare with that guy.
Agreed. Brief mention of the ESPN Plus / BT card that happened today, I believe, right? It was today, or was it yesterday?
Today.
It was today, right? Yeah, it was today. It was today. It was Friday. I have it right here. I just wasn't looking at the date. Liam Williams defeating Joe Melender in the second round KO. Anthony Yard picking up a TKO in the 5th round. Daniel Dubois picking up a KO in the second round against Razvan. The sparring partner that Joseph Parker put on one of the worst performances I've ever seen against. Again, have not seen this card. I will check it out. Just have not watched it. I know Fu, you haven't watched it either, right? So we don't need to stay on this. Go watch it. It's on ESPN Plus. I bet it was fun, and all the big names look like they got early finishes, so that's nice. Makes our jobs easier at least. But let's get to the last sort of wrap up news of the day. Then go to callers 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you aren't international, call in on Skype. Add Mixed Combat Radio. Speaking of, or switching back to what you asked about Bivol being the light heavyweight champion that will, like, he is the one that will not win a unification, right? I'm like, no. There's another light heavyweight that is worse. And that man's Artur Beterbiev. Yes, Artur Beterbiev.
I want smoke.
But he is, I will say this, I will give him credit, because his first sort of reported fight was atrocious, right? I think we all hated it. I even forget who he was originally scheduled to fight. However, he is now scheduled to fight Hot Rod Radzovic Kalejic. I know I butchered that name. And
I'm not even trying that name.
Hot Rod, man. Hot Rod. And let's not forget, Hot Rod arguably beat Marcus Brown a couple years ago, and his sort of career has been squandered in a way. I do know he has had some, I think, like personal issues, and that sort of led him away from the ring for a bit. But this was a guy that, for a lot of people, beat Marcus Brown, and now look at where Marcus Brown's at. I think a lot of people think he's on his way to getting a belt in the next 12 months, right? Hot Rod could easily come in here off the bench. We haven't heard from him in years, and beat Artur Beterbiev, because Artur Beterbiev is one of the simplest come-forward brawlers I've ever seen. And on top of that, he's a little bit chinny. Like he's a guy that can get hit and can get hurt. I'm not going to pick Hot Rod in this fight, but I love this matchup. I think it's a fun one. On top of that, it's just a fun fight to sort of dissect, like stylistically. Like, can Hot Rod outfight, outbrawl Artur Beterbiev? Can he outbox him? I think most people can outbox Beterbiev, but that's beside the point. And just for the sake of time, Fu, I'm going to get through the rest of the news really fast and then get sort of your thoughts on all of the news in a row briefly. Gamboa versus Jesus Cuellar and Guillermo Rigondeaux and Julio Ceja are in play. Jesus Cuellar is fighting also tomorrow on the Shawn Porter card for all those that want to know. On top of that, World Boxing Super Series doubleheader Regis Prograis, Kaylee Raylick, Nonito Donaire, Zolani Tete. That is completely confirmed. April 27th for the Cajun Dome in Lafayette, Louisiana on DAZN. Also, sort of fight cards we know that were made, but we did not have a sort of venue for it. Danny Garcia, Adrian Granados is now completely confirmed for Carson, California at the new StubHub Center Arena, which is now called the Dignity Health Sports Park. God, what a awful, awful name. So bad. But quick sort of criticism on that. How are you finally announcing your venue and selling tickets only about, a month, a little bit over a month away from a fight? So stupid. Come on, PBC. Like, you can do better than that. But anyways, digressing from that point. Fu, any sort of thoughts on these last news topics before we go to callers?
Just a couple of things. The Rigondeaux-Ceja fight is for, I think, a mandatory position for a belt at 126, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where? Yeah, because
Yep.
that's where Rigo's fighting now. And then, just again, stoked the World Boxing Super Series seems to be on its path to continue, minus the fuckery that is whatever's going on with Baranchik and that whole thing. So yeah, let's get to callers though.
Let's get to callers. Gary in Dallas. Gary, what's up?
What's going on?
How you doing?
Gary.
Yeah. Is that a really bad echo?
No,
you good?
No, there's no echo.
Okay. Couple of things. I know Hooker personally. I'm at the fight today. I'm in Turning Stone Casino. He only walks around at about 155, as per everyone who knows him. I can't confirm that personally,
Allegedly.
but they say he only walks around about 155.
Okay.
I was talking to his team today. They say he likes to eat candy. They can't get him to stop eating candy, but I don't think it's. I think it's more what Lou said. I think he didn't take this fight very seriously. I don't know, but according to them, no, he had no problem making 140. I don't know. You can make of it what you want, but I mean, if you're only walking around at $155, 140 is not that tough to make. I know he looks big, but that's what they say.
Porter can cut that with just hair.
I wanted to talk about Porter.
No, I'm just playing. I'm saying Porter could cut 15 pounds of just hair. I was just being. This is just a joke. Joke, Gary.
Porter. If this is it for him at 147, you guys don't think he could have any success at 54, right? He's far too small for that.
Against the current top champions, yeah, I agree.
So if he can't make 47 anymore, he's done. As a world-class fighter, because he can't rough up Jarrett Hurd or Munguia the way he can rough up the guys at 47. So
his fighting style doesn't work for that. Yeah, you're right.
What was that?
His fighting style doesn't work for that. He's
right
at 154. I think he struggles against lots of people in the top 10.
I want to pick Ugas in today's fight. I know Matt's gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna take Ugas on points.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Fu, I know you want to go in there with me. I know, like, you're flirting.
I'm in there
the
with
idea.
you for sure. I already said it before, like way back when we talked about this fight. I think Ugas for the upset.
You are
I
picking
think that
Ugas.
Shawn
That's official?
Porter's fighting style is perfect for Ugas, unfortunately.
You
Yeah, I
think
don't want to fight
Porter's
with that guy
style?
about that
Yeah.
shit on the chat.
Don't worry, Phil.
Yeah.
Back to you, Rob. Not Rob. Sorry, Gary. It's late. I'm sorry.
And then, obviously, I'm going to take Hooker. I'm going to take Bivol because I'm not going to get that crazy. But don't you think in the Pascal fight in particular, Bivol was getting hit a little bit too much? Like, way too much?
Yep.
You can't get hit way too much by Joe Smith. That is a bad person to get hit by. I'm going to pick Bivol. But, like, something inside me says that there's an upset in that fight. Like, Joe Smith might knock him out.
Man, that would be absolutely crazy. But, you know, I was listening to Lennox Lewis talk today, and he was talking about Hasim Rodman or whatever, and he was saying about how he didn't prepare properly for that fight or get up for it, and, you know, he got knocked out. So, stranger things have happened, right?
Do you think there's a chance like that could be there could be a serious upset tomorrow in that fight? Like Joe Smith could score a crazy one-punch knockout?
I think it's a low probability.
I think Bivol is very disciplined, and I don't really think he'll put himself in that position, even if it means just a really boring decision fight. I think.
Yeah, I don't think Joe Smith wins this fight, man. Barrera outboxed him.
Yeah, and he hit Barrera twice. The first time in the first round, he knocked him down, and then again in the 12th round, and he buckled him. You know, there's something special about Joe Smith's power at 175. And I'm picking Bivol because Bivol is a much, 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 much better boxer. Light years better boxer. But something to say and telling me Joe Smith's going to score he's going to catch lightning in a bottle and knock him out. But we'll see tomorrow. I'm going to pick Bivol officially because I'd be crazy not to.
Mm-hmm.
And Fu, you don't like Porter? And I want to say, Matt, I think most people like watching Porter fights. I don't think people dislike his style. I think he's like a bull in the china shop.
Yo,
I think
Gary,
most people,
Gary, are you on Twitter?
Yeah.
You on Twitter? Do you follow me?
Yeah. I mean, I follow.
That was
yeah,
way too much of a pause there, Gary. I'm hurt.
No, I don't.
I'm hurt.
I will real quick.
He's definitely lying. So you don't get hurt. Damn. Gary, I will say this.
I'm on Twitter. Like, I'm on MySpace. Like, I have an account. I don't really ever check it.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, I haven't looked at my Twitter account in years.
I'll put this way. I think Shawn Porter's reputation is a ugly inside fighter who is a footballer turned boxer who headbutts people and makes ugly fights. That is his reputation.
Sure, yeah. But, I mean, you think people generally don't like watching that?
I don't like watching.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I'll tell you,
I'm
to me,
go ahead.
I want to see the beauty in the sport, and that's the footwork, the controlling of range, lateral movement.
Let's not get hung up on this.
You know, all of that.
We don't need to get hung up on this. We don't need to get hung up on this. We are on a time, Fu. Relax there. You don't need to do, pontificate about every point. It's okay. But yeah, Shawn Porter. I think most people don't like Shawn Porter. I think most people think he has an ugly style.
Okay.
Very nice guy, though.
Very nice guy. Very sweet.
His style, he doesn't look like Bivol or Mikey Garcia. He's not picturesque in there, but I like watching him. I think he's
Agreed.
something different. He goes in there like a bull in a china shop, mauling people at that. I like him, but I think he's very beatable. But you didn't think. I was talking to Fu. You didn't think he looked much better against Danny Garcia? Like, you didn't think he looked really good in that Garcia fight? You didn't see him
Yeah,
using the
yeah, he
jab
did. I mean, he did. He didn't smother his work as much in that fight. I think he controlled his emotions in that fight. But I also think that I don't know that Garcia fought his best fight, so I don't really know how to rate that. I want to see more out of Porter. I want to see him work the distance better, box more, not just get inside and try to outwork the guy and smother him and hold him against the ropes. I don't care for that. But I don't begrudge anyone who thinks it's fun. It's always going to be a fun fight. It's like people that love heavyweights that get in the center of the ring and just slug each other until someone gets knocked out. It's like it's a fun fight, but it's not. There's nothing pretty about it.
That's the other thing I want to talk about. F.A. Ajabe is fighting Amir Mansour on what card?
The PBC card.
That makes sense. When was Mansour's probably like the same age as your dad, Matt? Like, when was the last time Mansour fought? I mean, was it the Brazil fight?
No, man. He's fought a ton since then. He last fought Filip Hrgovic, who is now like a 10-0 prospect, a heavyweight, signed with Matchroom at DAZN. He fought Joey DeWalco, I believe, as well. No, he's fought some guys. He beat Travis Kaufman in 2017. That was the last win.
That was in 2000. I thought that set up the Brazil. What was the Brazil fight? 2016.
Let me pull it up right now.
I thought the DeWalco fight was before Brazil. I mean, it was after Brazil. I mean, yeah, before Brazil. But you're saying it's after? Okay. Brazil
was 2016. It was before Travis Kaufman. Oh, and then he fought Sergey Kuzman in 2017 as well in November. That was a no contest.
Okay.
No
contest.
And then he fought Filip Hrgovic in September of 2018.
And did he win any of those fights? Because I just remember
he beat Travis Kaufman.
Cunningham. He beat Kaufman, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember he lost to Cunningham, but he lost to Brazil. What was that? Stopped on cuts or something?
Yeah,
he was doing
something
well
like
in that fight. Yeah. He had won almost every round to get stopped on cuts, I think. Yeah, that's a. I don't know. I mean, the Brazil fight was a couple of years ago, but that's a big step up for F.A., who has fought nobody, and now he's going to fight that guy. I guess they want to move him up pretty quickly. That's a huge step up.
Yep.
You think he knocks him out? You think F.A. knocks him out, though? I mean,
yeah.
He is like 47 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really it. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything?
Well, I mean, you don't want to talk about Deontay Wilder going to DAZN?
Oh, yeah, that was what. So this kind of puts Fury, right? You guys are talking about, they're talking about Fury fighting Wilder next. Well, that's probably not going to happen now because he's probably going to fight Brazil and then fight AJ. So that leaves Fury with a $100 million contract and no money fight. Unless you think Joseph Parker is a big money fight. I mean, this is not working out for Fury and Top Rank.
I agree.
No, I think if this happens, it really fucks Fury and Top Rank for sure.
Yeah, you're giving them I guess they're going to make the Dillian White fight. I mean, they don't really have a choice now, but right? I mean, that's going to be logical. They're both going to take kind of a tune-up fight and then fight each other, but they won't even be for a title.
If that even happens, I mean, it could throw that whole thing off. White may just not even go if there's no potential really good fights at that point.
But then now you have your $100 million guys fighting really B and C level guys. You're talking about Rivas and Jennings. I mean, that is not what you paid $100 million for, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think we could see another Alvarez situation here, where like that contract may not be as airtight as people think in terms of if those fights aren't there or Fury doesn't pull numbers, who knows? That contract might go out the window. So you saw him pull Alvarez.
And Wilder's deal, that's not official yet either. And you think there's any chance Showtime? We talking about it. Showtime could come up with the money if they really wanted to. I just didn't think they were gonna.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Showtime comes up and tries to make a last-minute offer to keep Wilder over there?
Yeah, I think they have to. Does it work? Does it work is another question. But do they have a last-minute offer? I guarantee they do. They would be fools to not have a last-minute offer for that guy.
Yeah, it's just traditionally, CBS is really conservative with their money. I mean, they could do it. They certainly have the ability to do it. It's just like that's not a calculated risk they would take. But I mean, you're right. They have so much money invested in boxing, and I guess they kind of have to. And you think if they get close, Wilder's the type of guy who will stick with Showtime, right? Like if they come close, he'll stick with them.
Yeah, if they're like $1 million or $2 million off, maybe. Yeah, I can see him sticking with Showtime.
Yeah. So if they're at all interested, I think they can get close. I think he'll stay there. So I don't think that deal with DAZN is as close to finish as everyone thinks. Because I think Showtime will make an offer, and I think if it's in the ballpark, but we'll find out.
Yeah, but
thank you for the call, Gary.
Yeah, thanks, Gary. I was going to make a point about something, but it's not worth getting into right now.
Are you sure?
Talk about it later.
Yeah. Sure? Okay. We can go to Unrivaled Box Talk in News. Out in, I believe it's, I forget where Unrivaled Box Talk in News is from.
Let's not get into another topic about geography of the of Europe.
I want to say he's from the UK, but I want to say it's like Northern Ireland. Because I like getting a little bit more specific, like the U.S., like there's 50 fucking states. Who cares? Yeah. Same with like the UK. Like I want to know if people are from like London or like Birmingham or Manchester. You want to be more generic than that because you like to be secretive. You can just say like Wales or Scotland or England or whatever. But anyways, Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News. What's up?
What's up? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. It's the Republic of Ireland, by the way.
Ah, the Republic Island.
Yeah, so...
I was about to say a joke that was really offensive. I'm glad I didn't. But anyways, back to you.
The fight's tomorrow. Not bad. I don't really... I might be the only person who doesn't really see the Porter Ugas fight as highly competitive. But I have my reasons. And I'm going to side with Matt on this one. I think Porter's going to win. And it'll either be by a very late stoppage or it'll be by decision. And the main reason why is Ugas can't deal with pressure and his energy drains. Whilst Porter is known as a high-level, stamina-draining pressure fighter. And he goes to the body. Now, Ugas also goes to the body, but he telegraphs all his shots. And Porter moves in and out very well. And I just see him beating Ugas up in a very one-sided points victory, if it is on points, by probably about 10 rounds to 2. So I don't see that being competitive at all. If anybody has money on Ugas, I don't know why. I see Ugas as a hipster choice. And really just, I don't think people have watched him that often. Like when he was fighting against Delorme, I think we can all agree, when Delorme started to put the pressure on towards the end, Ugas looked like he was out on his feet. He really did. So that's my stance on that. After seeing what Hrgovic did with Amir Mansour, Amir Mansour genuinely looks like he's getting old now. Like his belly was hanging. He's normally come in shape, but his belly was hanging at the weigh-in today. He didn't look in great shape either. FA to knock him out. What else is there? Other fights to take.
Fights. You have Bivol, Joe Smith. You have the Maurice Hooker fight. Sergey Kuzman, Joey DeWalko.
Weight by 5 pounds, didn't he? He missed weight by 5 pounds. That could play a factor. But the guy is no great shake. Hooker should still beat him. Let's see. Bivol, Joe Smith. Joe Smith Jr. does have power, but Bivol will be aware of that. It's going to be boring, and he'll probably jab his head off. That's just boring. What was the other one you mentioned?
The Sergey Kuzman, Joey DeWalco fight. And also there was the Dubois and Anthony Yarde card. I have not seen that, but if you've seen that, you can obviously talk about it.
Yeah, I watched that. Let's see. We had Kajanu against Dubois. It was over in 2 rounds. First round, Dubois pretty much just punched him up. Very simple. In the second round, Kajanu looked like he needed to try and do something because he couldn't. He tried to hook with Dubois and he got stopped. So that was the end of that. I liked the way Dubois jabbed him. I liked the way he moved to the body quite a lot. He invested in his body heavily, and you could see that those shots were hurting Kajanu's body. He looked drained after the first round, going to be honest. He looked exhausted because of the body shots. So that was that. That was all she wrote. The Travis Reeves and Anthony Yarde fight actually gave me a lot to think about because Travis Reeves' hand speed was causing some problems for Yarde. Yarde was kind of struggling with the hand speed. That did shock me. What really shocked me is how slow Yarde looked. He looked a lot bigger, but he put on an okay performance. Like going into the 5th round, I had a 3-1 Yarde, but one of the rounds was tight. And Yarde he hit him with a shot, like a big right hand on the top of the temple, and the guy's legs buckled. He did the Bambi legs, and the referee stepped in for like a fair enough UK stoppage, is what I'm gonna call it. And then what was his name? The guy who lost to Smith before, Williams, right?
Yeah, Liam Williams.
Yeah, he won by devastating knockout in a complete opposite of the referee decision because the guy was knocked to the ground and he was on his face and he just about made a 10 count, and that fight should have been stopped. His legs were still buckled. Williams came over, 1-punch right hand, straight right hand, just completely cleaned him. Brutal, absolute brutal knockout. Williams was complaining to the referee saying you should have just stopped that. He was pissed, and you could see it. So yeah, let's see, Kuzman versus Dueco. I see Kuzman winning that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Not really big on Dueco. He's fun to watch though. He is fun, but Kuzman's a little bit too good for him. So he should probably win that fight. I don't know if it'll be by decision or knockout. Is there any other things to talk about?
Did you mention anything about Wilder, the DAZN deal, Triple G, the DAZN deal, anything like that?
Yeah, congratulations to Triple G. He's got money. He's going to be promoting fights himself. That's good to see. So I'm guessing from 2020 onwards, he'll be promoting his own cards, 2 cards a year. So that's good to see for him. Wilder, yeah, Wilder's going to possibly be negotiating a multi-fight contract. I mean, that's just speculation, really. There's nothing 100% set in stone. I'm not as excited as everybody else because, as we know, we've seen a lot of things happen and go one way then another with all of these different types of negotiations. The way I see it, Wilder's entered more negotiations over the last year for fights and contracts and shit like that than he actually has had fights. So it doesn't really matter. I'm more pleased about the news that the DAZN have signed Triple G than I am about the possibility of Wilder. If Wilder becomes an actuality, fantastic. We have all 4 heavyweight titles on the DAZN. That makes it easier because in-house fights are always easier.
Agree. Thank you for the call and Rival Box Talking News.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for the call.
Going out to the 901 area code, and I think this is going to be our final caller of the night. It's late, and my dogs went out of the studio, and they're about to knock over studio lights. About to yell at them. 901, who is this? Where are you calling from?
What's going on with it? What's going on, bro?
Jay, is this you?
What's going on, big bro? What's going on, big bro?
Not yes.
What's up, man?
What's up?
Man, what's going on, bro? Talking this boxing, man. I hear the guy he just called in. He really didn't know what he was talking about. You see, this Deontay Wilder deal is pretty much it's official because DAZN got the money. When you got the money to make it happen and you spending the money, like when you seen with the Canelo deal, they gave him the biggest deal in sports history, $365 million. That's more than Bryce Harper, more than Floyd Mayweather. So they gave Triple G a 6-fight deal, brother. You know what I mean? That's over probably $100 million. These guys are spending plenty of money. They just took over boxing. They pushed HBO out of business. Showtime is next. I mean, they got a fight with Shawn Porter tomorrow. I don't think anybody's going to watch it. Kell Brook actually kicked Shawn Porter's ass, and he's on DAZN. And, I mean, I'm just thankful for boxing. You know what I mean? And it's like boxing is back, and I'm happy for Deontay Wilder. He deserves it. Showtime pretty much, they shitted on him because when it came to giving him the money, DAZN came and blessed him with a lot of money. They giving him probably $200 million. He's gonna have his own promotional company like Triple G. It's gonna be big. I mean, Deontay Wilder is the biggest. He's the biggest name in America. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. He deserves to get paid like Mike Tyson did, Evander Holyfield, and the other greats. He's a great fighter. Anthony Joshua, he's a great champion. They're going to make the biggest fight in boxing history on DAZN. I hope everybody tunes in. It's only $10. It can't hurt, you know. People spend $10 on anything, you know, on a sandwich. I mean, to watch.
Oh, looks like 901 drop off.
Hello. To watch Canelo fights. You know what I mean? To watch Canelo versus Daniel Jacobs, to watch Anthony Joshua versus Big Baby Miller, to watch Triple G fights, to watch Bellator, MMA. I just go to DAZN and watch it every day, bro. I mean, what do you guys think?
I was with you until Bellator MMA. Now I'm just playing. Bro.
I mean, Bellator, I just seen MVP beat Paul Daly's ass the other day. It was pretty good,
Whoa,
you know, and we have Major
wait.
League Baseball.
Wait.
I mean, who doesn't love baseball in America?
Wait, beat his ass? Come on, man. He didn't beat his ass.
All I can say is you just gave Rob the call that he has. I wish Rob was here.
And that fight was shit. But thank you for the call. That was a fantastic call. What was your name again?
My name is Dogman. I mean, I'll be tuning in. It's very nice to hear from you guys. But Deontay Wilder is the biggest name in American boxing. So, I mean, give thanks to DAZN. Let's all be thankful for boxing. And give credit when credit is due. Deontay Wilder, let's celebrate this day, brothers. So that's all I can say. Let's celebrate it as Americans.
Thank you for the call.
Getting paid.
Sorry. I thought you were signing off there. But we're gonna be signing off now. It's late night boxing show, so all of our UK listeners will wake up in the morning and be like, "Oh, Wilder show on MCR. Gotta go click on that." Go leave a comment down below with what you think about this Deontay Wilder negotiation deal meeting with John Skipper, plus obviously the Triple G DAZN deal being official, the Porter Ugas card, the Bivol Joe Smith card, your predictions, your previews, all there in the comment section below. Tell us your thoughts, your previews, your opinions, and your takes about all the boxing news and content of the week and of the day. I am Matt, the Hipster Hunter. You can find me at Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Fu?
I'm Fugatti _MCR. You can catch me on all the platforms.
Yes.
You know, the Instagram, the Twitter. You know.
Well, why do you say like the platforms? Like that's weird. No, that's how like you should say it. Like
I'm just messing with you because you hate when I say the Instagram. You call me an old man. I'm just being funny, all right? Thanks for the calls, guys. Thanks for being here. It was great to talk some boxing. Sorry that we didn't have Rob here for that phone call of the total DAZN sales pitch, but I can't wait for Robbie to hear it, and we'll catch you guys soon.
It's only $10. You spent $10 on a sandwich, guys. Come on.
$10 on a sandwich.
You know what's funny is, like, he said that and I laughed. I'm like, shit, man. I just went and got Five Guys today, and that shit was like $8.99.
That shit's no joke.
It's expensive, right? I'm like, fuck, man. He's right. He's right. But anyways, have a great night. Stay safe out there.
McGregor, I'm actually super pissed he said that. I didn't know anything about boxing.
It's okay. Relax. Don't worry. We don't need to come in here and correct him. We believe you do know some shit. And Mr. David, you don't know shit about boxing. Oh, my God. It's going down in the DMs. But anyways, digressing. Have a great night. Stay safe out there. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
I am Phil. I'm very Phil.
I mean, maybe that's your job, but where I come from, you know, people like that get slapped.
Where is this Burger King?
Who the fuck is that guy?
90 seconds.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?